So, J. Ruud, what lovable book are we talking about today?
Well, Stacey Margaret Jones, I'll give you a hint.
I can't wait.
Pilot the Bootlegger.
I don't know.
So sad.
Welcome to Between the Covers, where author J. Ruud and I, author Stacey Margaret Jones, discuss one lovable book per episode from his list of the 100 most lovable novels in the English language. And I'm ready for my second hint. Have I read this book?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. So I won't feel so bad.
This may be moot. But second novel. The second clue.
Thank you.
Is Bags of Gold. And the third clue is Milkman Dead.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, well, this is Toni Morrison's book, Song of Solomon.
Okay. I have read Toni Morrison, but not that book.
Yeah, you probably have read Beloved.
Yes, I have read Beloved. So our listeners who have read that book were probably yelling at me from Podcastosphere. Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. All right. So what lists, since you have read books, you've compiled a giant list from all these best of lists. You've read through this giant list, and that's where you got the main source of your 100 books. What other lists is Song of Solomon on?
Well, of course, Beloved is the one that you'll find on most lists.
Right.
The Song of Solomon was her third novel. It was the first one to bring her kind of into national attention because it won the National Book Critics Circle Award.
Okay.
It's on the Guardian's list of the greatest novels in the English language, and it's on the Observer's list of the greatest novels in world literature. And the Radcliffe Publishing list, which came out as a deliberate rival to the Modern Library list, puts Song of Solomon number 25 on their list. So
okay.
It is, after Beloved, her best known and most admired novel.
It is some premier lists.
That's
high quality lists.
High quality lists.
All right. So
including mine.
Well, that is the highest quality list. Let's do the down and dirty summary, which I'll see if I give you a playing harp sound effect because you've succeeded or a sad trombone because you have failed at the down and dirty summary.
Okay, here's a down and dirty summary.
Okay.
It's a Bildungsroman, which is a coming-of-age novel.
Yes.
It follows the life of its hero, Macon Milkman Dead, the third,
all right,
from birth to maturity, as he comes to recognize and understand his true heritage.
Wow. That you get the singing harps of gold. There you go.
Of course,
that's the best you've ever done.
You know nothing about the novel by that
but
summary.
You do know. You know it's a coming-of-age novel.
Yeah.
You know, when was this published?
It was published in 1977.
Okay.
Won the award in 1978.
And when is it set?
It begins in the 1940s.
Okay.
And then comes up to close to the present time.
20th century.
Yeah, late 20th century.
Okay.
Mid to late 20th century.
Do you know how long it is, roughly?
It's roughly 337 pages.
Okay. So it's more of you can put it in your backpack. It's not a doorstop.
Yeah.
Epic novel. Okay. Right. All right. That's helpful too for people, I think. All right. So your list is focused on lovable books.
Yeah.
Not good for you books.
Yeah. So
why is this book lovable? I mean, what puts it on your list as being an enjoyable book to read?
Lots of things. It has a really interesting plot, which the down and dirty summary didn't give you much of an example of. But it begins when Macon Dead III is born, on the day he's born. In fact, the opening of the novel is really striking because it opens with this insurance man jumping off the roof of Mercy Hospital, thinking he's going to fly with these kind of wings that he's made for himself. He doesn't. But flight is an important image in the book.
So it's a motif.
Yeah. So there's this huge crowd around the hospital. One of the people in the crowd is Ruud Dead, who's 9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And the sort of shock of what happens puts her into labor, and they take her into the hospital, and the baby is born. It's the first Black baby born in Mercy Hospital.
Oh, okay.
And it only happens because there's this sort of emergency, because it's the white person's hospital.
Right.
This is a city in Michigan, but we're not told what city. It could be Detroit, but it doesn't seem that big. So maybe it's Flint or something like that. Anyway, it's ironic because Ruth's father had been the first Black doctor in this city.
Right.
His grandson is actually born in this hospital that he was never able to actually practice in. He's called Milkman because his mother, he has this domineering mother who breastfeeds him until he's 4 years old. And one of his father's workers, his father's a realtor, and a very unsympathetic one who cares nothing for people.
He's an unsympathetic realtor, or he's an unsympathetic father?
Both.
Okay. I wanted to clarify.
He doesn't care about other people's feelings. Anyway, one of his renters actually sees this happening through the window, and that's how Milkman Dead gets the nickname Milkman.
Okay.
And he's known as Milkman for the rest of his life.
Okay.
He grows up kind of like his father. He's unsympathetic to other people.
Anti-hero?
Kind of. An important point of his growing up is when he meets his aunt, his father's sister, whose name is Pilate, like Pontius Pilate.
Right.
And she's named that because when she was born, her father, who would have been actually Milkman Dead the first, pointed at the Bible. Bible, pointed at page, and the first name that he came to
was Pilate.
That was what he was going to name the baby. And so she was born Pilate. She was actually born without a navel also, which is an interesting and hard to figure out point. But anyway, he's never met her until he's a teenager because his father won't have anything to do with her. She's a bootlegger and a conjure woman. He finds out that he would actually literally be dead if it weren't for her, because her mother was going to abort him when he was in the womb, and she talked her out of it and made sure he got born.
But without a navel, it's like she's a first person.
Yeah.
Like she was created in the Garden of Eden, right?
Yeah. And
that's fascinating.
It's an interesting, it seems like she's almost like an earth mother figure.
Yeah.
Because she's, he owes his life to her.
Right.
She also spends all her time caring for her family, which now includes him, now that she's actually met him.
Yeah.
She has a granddaughter named Hagar. Same method of naming. That Milkman actually has an affair with her, and then he dumps her. And she spends the rest of the book trying to kill him. Every month, she'll come and make an attempt on his life. She can never quite convince herself to go through with it. And he's spared every time. But it's
he isn't spared by circumstance. He's spared by her.
By her, yeah.
Very fortunate lack of will.
Yeah. and she still loves him, which is why she wants to kill him. Pilate has this bag hanging in her house, and she calls it her inheritance. Milkman tells his father about this, and his father is, we can get that money, because he thinks when they were children, their father, Milkman Dead the first, was murdered. He had actually been a slave. After he's freed, he has a farm of his own in Pennsylvania, but the white people around want that farm for themselves, and they shoot him when he's sitting on a fence. And the two kids run and hide in a cave. And in that cave, they find these old bones. They also find some bags of gold, but they can't take them with them.
Right.
So when they flee from the cave, They leave him there. And anyway, Milkman's father thinks that Pilate has gone back and got that gold. And that's what's in that bag. So he gets Milkman and his friend Guitar to break into the house and steal the bag.
Right.
Turns out all that's in the bag is a bunch of old bones. And the Milkman wants to find that gold. And he goes on a quest.
Oh, okay.
So this is really where the maturation finally starts.
Okay.
Because he's 32 years old and he's still as big a jerk as he was when he was a kid. And he's just like his father.
Right. So he has no character arc so far.
Not so far.
Okay.
He's this. Then he goes on the quest.
But that's what quests do.
That's right.
That's why we have quest stories. It's because they enact or they produce a change in the character.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons this is a lovable book, I think, because it's that archetypal quest motif. Milkman doesn't know who he is.
Right.
Literally doesn't know anything about his ancestry, except that he starts hearing these stories. And like the quests of medieval knights always are for something like, a bag of gold or,
right.
Kill a dragon or something.
Well, the Fisher King, isn't that to heal the wasteland?
Yeah. But what happens on this quest is that the knight who's doing the questing always finds out something about himself and that he didn't know before, or he becomes somebody that he wasn't before. And that's what happens to Milkman on this quest. He goes to Pennsylvania and finds out some stuff. Then he decides he's going to go to Virginia, which is where his grandfather had been a slave, and he meets some people there, and he finds out some stuff. I won't reveal anything about what he finds out. That would spoil the ending. But quests are archetypal. Everybody loves quests.
Well, your books are quests. I mean, obviously the Merlin Mysteries, because that's King Arthur. The knights are questers, but Treasure of Sherwood, which is your latest book, is a quest.
Yeah, I mean, there's a quest for the treasure for
exactly, which is so it's just like Song of Solomon.
Like.
But I mean, that shows that literary tradition of the quest comes to us in many forms and delivers many experiences.
Yeah,
different kind, even though it's the same form, the quest, same motif. The outcomes can be so different. Yeah. A mystery novel, a coming of age novel. Also, it sounds like this is a coming of age novel, not only for the character, but we're looking at how is America coming of age, or is it?
That's a good point, because the background to the book, this is during the 1950s, 1960s. It's partly the civil rights movement, but one of the things that Macon focuses on when he's a teenager, I guess, is he goes into this, I think it's a barbershop, if I remember right, where all the guys are talking about what's happened to Emmett Till. And Guitar, who's Milkman's best friend, becomes so enraged at what's been happening that he decides all the evil in the world comes from white people. Mm-hmm. And whenever there's violence against a black person anywhere in the country, he decides what he's going to do is go randomly kill a white person in revenge for it. Mm-hmm. He's not a real likable character.
No.
But he's reflecting, this frustration and anger.
Right, because in some ways you're like, how could you not have that reaction when you hear all of this that's happening?
So the country needs to get over what's happening. And of course, it's still in that state, I guess.
But I think it's interesting too that it's set in the North, which challenges some of the things that I think we think about ourselves as a nation. The South was racist. The North was not racist. When Black people living their lives in the North can tell you now, just as much as when the book was written or before that is not the case.
And it's set in the North, but it's also set in the South.
Oh, okay.
Because he goes to the South.
Sure.
Where his father or his grandfather had been a slave. The characters are one of the things that's lovable about the book. Pilate is just a remarkable woman. I mean, she's a remarkable creation who you really get to really think, well, you go get him, Pilot. And then Hagar is a very pathetic kind of character in a way. She just
pitiable.
Yeah, pitiable, because she has this burden that she can't put down, and she can't kill him.
But she can't also walk away for whatever reason, or she won't.
No.
Yeah.
So those are some pretty likable characters.
Yeah.
But there are also some unlikable characters like Guitar and Ruth's father, Milkman's grandfather.
The first physician.
Yeah, the first physician. Because he's a self-hating racist. He calls his fellow African Americans cannibals. And when Milkman's sisters are born, his sisters are named First Corinthians and Magdalene called Lena.
Yeah. I think she won the name lottery there over First Corinthians.
but when they're born, the grandfather comes to see them only to see if their skin is light enough.
Right.
For him to accept them as grandchildren. So
you don't have to be
character.
You don't have to be white to be racist. I mean, because racism is an idea, and anybody can hold that idea.
Yeah,
it sounds like the character is living out that truth.
Yeah. Anyway, Milkman does find out about his past, about his family's past, and the title "Song of Solomon" comes from this chant that little kids are saying when he's in the South. And it's a chant that he heard Pilate sing at one point that goes, Solomon done fly, Solomon done gone, Solomon went across the sky, Solomon gone home. So this character of Solomon lived many, many years ago, and the myth is that he flew home to Africa.
Oh, the flight.
So the flying comes in again.
Uh-huh.
So I won't tell you how Solomon's related to the family.
But it's not the book of the Bible.
It's not the book of the Bible that we're talking about.
That's interesting.
You would think that'd be making Dead's name Song of Solomon. You got First Corinthians.
Yeah.
But no, that's not it.
Interesting.
So that's the characters are one thing that's really lovable about the story. The language is really memorable. There's a kind of rhythm to it. There's a figurative language that's used all over the place. Let me read you one little short paragraph that describes Hagar's grief. In fact, her maturity and blood kinship converted her passion to fever, so it was more affliction than affection. It literally knocked her down at night and raised her up in the morning. For when she dragged herself off to bed, having spent another day without his presence, her heart beat like a gloved fist against her ribs. And in the morning, long before she was fully awake, she felt a longing so bitter and tight, it yanked her out of bed. It yanked her out of a sleep swept clean of dreams.
Ooh, it's poetic.
It's
not like poetry. It is poetic.
It's like a prose poem. The whole book is like a prose poem.
Oh, wow. So it probably is enjoyable to listen to like you did, or even to read aloud if you're sitting.
I'm glad that I listened to it.
Yeah.
Milkman does have a character arc.
Okay.
And the one thing I will reveal about the end is that he's not as unlikable.
Well, I hope he doesn't become more unlikable. That would be a lower payoff.
I have to say that one of the reasons that I decided to pick this novel instead of Beloved is that it's the only one of Toni Morrison's novels that has a male protagonist.
Okay. So dudes stick together? Is that
well, kind of. I mean, any list that I make is
your list
coming from me, and I can't change the fact that I'm a cis white American Anglo-Saxon Protestant from a working class background,
baby boomer
with a Ph.D. In a humanities discipline. And all those things play into,
of course,
what's going to be lovable to me.
It's interesting because I think when you're writing a novel, you have to choose the point of view or the characters that are going to help you explore what you want to explore. And Mr. Catherine has a male narrator which is my novel, which I'll tell you, I never said, I never wanted to do that. It wasn't something I felt even comfortable doing, but I felt like it had to be that perspective in order to talk about what I wanted to talk about. So obviously it works in this book.
And I mean, Toni Morrison had the same idea, I think, in this book. What she wanted to talk about,
it had to be.
Would be better from a male perspective. Yeah. She says she sort of channeled her father when she was writing it.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So why might people not love this book?
There's, some frank sexuality. Mm-hmm. There's some language people might not like. Mm-hmm. There's, there's some freaky things, like Milkman realizes on his quest that he hasn't thought of before exactly, is that the bones in that bag have to be his grandfather's bones.
Oh, okay.
Because his body was actually thrown into that cave after he was killed.
Yeah.
And so that must be where Pilot went back and got those bones.
Yeah. Interesting.
And he wants to go back and try to convince her to bury them.
Mm-hmm. So what number? How are you ranking this? We have 1 through 15 already, is that right?
Yeah.
So how are you ranking this one?
I'm going to put this, I think it's number 7. It'd be right after The Great Gatsby.
Oh, okay.
And right before Wolf Hall.
Oh, okay. So after another great American story and before a great British story.
Yeah.
Outranking a great British story. Yeah. All right. Great discussion.
Toni Morrison is like, she has a kind of mythic status in American literature.
Yeah.
Being the first African-American to win the Nobel Prize in literature.
Yeah.
And only the second woman.
Yeah.
The second American woman to
win it. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is surprising to me that you chose that book, but I can see. I don't remember a lot about Beloved. I read it in undergrad. I need to pick up Song of Solomon. I think you've convinced me.
So is it time for Chaos Reader?
Yes, it is. So I'm going to be truly chaotic this episode. As I'm still working on the books that I've talked about, but I'm teaching Introduction to Creative Writing, and I had a student write creative nonfiction about a kind of toxic friendship that she had in high school. And I wanted to share with her some things to read to help her move this narrative from just kind of like a polished journal entry, right? Like, this is what happened to me, to why is this meaningful to somebody else, right? Like, how do we move our autobiographical stories from being something that just the people around us care about because they care about us, to being something that someone who doesn't know us will read and care about because they can relate to us. So I went back to this essay from the Paris Review called The Crane Wife by C.J. Hauser and sent that to her because this woman does this very well, where she goes on a trip to Texas to work with crane preservation on this wildlife preserve. After leaving,
sticking her neck out.
After leaving her fiance. And the motif throughout is this story about the crane wife, who was a crane who wanted to marry a man. And every night she would pick her feathers out of her body so that he would not know that she was a crane. And it's really, really touching because the woman realized that she was really doing this to be with her fiance. Like, he wouldn't tell her he loved her because he had told her a couple of times, and why wasn't that good enough? Things like that. And through the course of working on this, this volunteer week on this nature preserve with other people who were there for their own reasons. She was there as a writer, just trying to get information for characters in a book. She's not an ecologist or anything. But the essay is really, really successful at taking a personal pain and hurt and translating it into something more universal and relatable for others. And it's, she uses this story, she uses her experience working with nature, just being around other people who actually are thoughtful human beings as opposed to her ex-fiance. And it's really a beautiful essay. And I was glad, I sent it to my student because I had used it in the past. And then I thought, I just really want to read it again. It's not that long. It's really a beautiful essay. I would encourage everybody to, I'm pretty sure it's not behind a paywall, and just Google The Crane Wife and you'll find it. It's wonderful.
Where was it published?
The Paris Review.
Okay.
So it's lovely. So that's Chaos Reader this week.
All right. Well,
we'd like to encourage our listeners to tell one book lover they know about our podcast, and also leave a comment on the podcast app where you find us, or on YouTube if that's where you're listening / watching. And that helps everybody find our podcast and get it out into the world. So with that,
we'll see you next week
on Between the Covers.